Meanwhile, in 1957, Your Honor, permission to treat the witness as hostile. Permission granted. I'm gonna shoot you in the face. That'll ruin my day.
Oh yeah, we're back again, and about time too. We just knocked out all the good animated characters from the famous alignment sheet, which means we're heading into Act 2, the neutral characters. Starting the series of going through all the character alignments and making a top 10 into each alignment and finding out who best represents that position. It's been a lot of fun so far, but I do feel like this next alignment we have is probably the least popular of the 9. This video is all about the lawful neutral characters, the ones who definitely believe in order, but tend to cross through good and evil territory. Unlike one of our previous entries, Lawful Good, a lawful neutral character tends to follow their own personal code or law. They may not obey every law out there, but will probably obey a code from others that they themselves portray. You still with me? Most lawful neutral characters can be an Inspector Jabbert, a noble demon, a punch clock hero, or even a control freak. Oh, this guy would perfectly fit here. So, you know the rules, only animated characters ranging from TV to film and even the World Wide Web. With that being said, let's kick off the countdown for the top 10 lawful neutral animated characters. Upon thinking of who I would consider to be a neutral character based on their deeds, I had a little trouble picking between two characters from Steven Universe. I mean, after all, most of the gems on the show either lead on good or evil, but barely in between. I almost chose Pearl with her obsession with rules and proper behavior, along with the fact that she can't take criticism and only joined a rebellion because she had a crush on someone. But in the end, Pearl does her best to be good, and ultimately receives that goal with some push from her friends. Instead, I'm going for someone who is instantly pushing themselves more and more to that spectrum, but still has a long way to go.
Oh, yes! Feel my unbridled rage! Hey!
I think it's safe to say that Peridot from the beginning of the show was pretty antagonistic, especially towards Steven and the gang. After all, her whole mission was to go to Earth to check the progression of the cluster until the crystal gem stopped her in every appearance.
Peridot, these touch stumps. This? Gravity connectors. This? That's your butt!
Upon being stranded on Earth, Peridot has no choice but to help the gems destroy the cluster, and this is where she actually bonds with them. Peridot goes through a bunch of humble experiences, and realizes that her ideals of her society might be false. Of course, she still abides by these rules throughout the series, as she had no reference to question them and was just doing what she was told. But with a little bit of socializing, she was able to go up a peg from lawful evil to neutral, as she has proven to change her mind with a little bit of enthusiasm.
Ooh.
Nice shorts.
How did these get here?
You know who's always on the lawful side? Police officers.
You gotta be fucking kidding me!
Wait a minute, I just made that same joke on my lawful good characters. You know who's always on the lawful good side? Police officers.
You gotta be fucking kidding me!
Oh well, it doesn't hurt to throw in a recycled joke every once in a while. Now yes, I know about the feelings about cops in the US, but we're talking about fictional animated characters here, and this time we actually have a cop who doesn't play on the good or bad side of justice.
Unit 2, is the backstage area still secure?
Unit 2, all clear.
This is where all the training pays off.
Oh, pardon me. Terribly sorry.
Not a problem, sir.
Misty Luggins is the hot-headed and mildly tempered chief of police who is on site and ready to arrest the titular bad guys. She's a really dedicated, and I mean really dedicated, law enforcement officer who pursues the gang, making her the primary antagonist, I guess? Well, at the moment. The thing about Chief Luggins is that she's willing to do some very questionable things in order for the gang's arrest. For example, not giving the bad guys a fair trial after the possession of Professor Marmalade's meteorite. Also, if you were a cop under her position, kiss your job goodbye because she will definitely fire you if you let the gang steal another luxurious item.
Officers, if the bad guys crash this event, I am definitely going to lose my job, and I will not hesitate to take you down with me.
Getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't call Luggins good by any means, but she's going after evil in the process, so she's a good contender for this list.
Madam Governor, you can't just let them go.
Now that everyone's happy.
Not happy.
Wait, you're telling me the bad guys are now good? And she still wants them arrested? Well, what the fuck? Alright, we kind of got another dilemma where we have a group of characters who all fall under the same alignment, which means we're gonna have to narrow that down to one. So, the Penguins of Madagascar. Pretty much willing to make peace and keep order in the zoo, as in the TV series, but will not hesitate to beat up anybody that makes them angry. Now, I can already knock out 2 of the 4 here. Private is just a little too good for his own liking, while Rico definitely fits that chaotic side. Skipper is the leader of the 4 and definitely has a lawful side to him, but these orders or plans he gives out aren't always the greatest of plans. So instead, we're looking at the lieutenant of the group, Kowalski.
Code-breaking skills, activate! Oh, 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 1. Results negative.
Now, the TV version of Kowalski is a little more exaggerated than his movie counterpart, as while he's still the brains of the group, this time he has more of that mad scientist edge to him, making a ton of contraptions and inventions that either make or break in episodes. In fact, most of his technology immediately puts the world in danger. Now, he doesn't really mean for the experiments to go wrong, however, one has to think why he makes these inventions or plans he makes with Skipper so overly complicated. Still, Kowalski remains firmly lawful from his group, and why he probably deserves a spot more than his flightless counterparts.
So why so free that I know I could tame her?
You know someone is very neutral if they don't care wherever you live or die. Now, if it's a bureaucrat, you should probably be concerned, but the Planet Express crew has grown to live with their own, so might as well put them to good use.
Wow, you look happy. Is someone fired?
Better. The central bureaucracy is conducting an inspection tomorrow. I will finally be promoted to grade 35, the 35th highest grade there is.
Now, Hermes was never a personal favorite of mine, just another character on the show that seemed fine in my eyes. But with his position on the crew and his undeniable obsession with work, I know he had to make it in this list.
Oh, yes. My performance review proves the main drag on our profit is the time I waste on performance reviews.
But you can't fire yourself now. We were just getting to know each other.
Hermes is seen on the show pretty much demanding that the crew work harder, especially Zoidberg. He hates labor unions, hates taking a vacation, but probably more shocking, hates most of his co-workers too, even as to having a recurring gag wanting to kill them in multiple ways. Jeez, man.
It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good.
Now, Hermes isn't always thinking these thoughts, as he does have a soft side for Bender, even going to risk his license to recover Bender's downloaded brain on a disc. See guys, he's not that strict, he's still got a heart. He may be too into following every aspect of bureaucratic regulations, but it's not surprising when it's his whole job.
We made it! We're back home!
Okay, today is still a work day, so...
Wait, help!
Bruh.
One big character role for the supposed alignment is the so-called Battle Butler. You know, a personal servant to a family who works for royalty, and is known for kicking butt in the process. Now, this next pick is nowhere near deserving of kicking butt, but for being a stubborn butler, and also an imaginary friend, this cranky rabbit will have to do.
I'm just gonna open the door.
Open the door!
Don't mind if I do.
Can you not read, Master Beauregard? Stay away, meaning do not approach the vicinity of. Do not enter, which should not arise as an option if you simply heed the initial warning of stay away.
Mr. Harriman's only job at Foster's is to maintain order in the household, so pretty much everyone has to obey his wishes.
I told you they'd go for it.
You certainly did not. This was a solution entirely of my own design.
Nuh-uh.
Uh-huh.
This very upper-class rabbit is the imaginary friend to the owner of Foster's, Miss Madam Foster, so he's already a teacher's pet.
Teacher's pet. Teacher's pet. Teacher's pet. Teacher's pet.
He is extremely strict about house rules, putting the rules first before things like, I don't know, common sense. It's also very glaring to say that he actually makes a salary out of this too. Greedy little bunny. Silly rabbit, money is for adults only. If one violates the rules, Harriman usually punishes them. Well, unless your name is Bendy. Hate that guy. And usually, the people who get the short end of the stick are people like Blue and Frankie, who either break house rules on purpose or by accident, or just are burdened with tons of tasks to make Foster's look fancy. Harriman really doesn't care about good or evil, but does care for the household as well as Madam Foster, and will usually nitpick what certain residents are doing. Unless you're Bendy. Ugh.
Why, whatever is going on?
You should be ashamed, dude.
Sometimes you get a character that often acts rather strangely. This might not be entirely their fault though. Sometimes these characters just get exposed to how the world works and try to act accordingly, but fail to interact the proper way. And some characters may seem hostile towards this person, making them feel more isolated and reject humanity. And when your experiment gone wrong with an attempt to help rule a kingdom, you would definitely get a little salty, or I guess in this case, sour.
You made me! You made me! You're my glob!
Poor Lemongrab. Created by Princess Bubblegum, Lemongrab's mission was to rule the Candy Kingdom if Bubblegum ever went missing. But due to his dysfunctional social skills, the Candy Kingdom pretty much hated him, leaving Lemongrab and a clone of himself off to their own realm in Castle Lemongrab.
Take off your things!
Whoa, settle down, lemon grease.
I am not grease! This is unacceptable!
Lemongrab definitely has a weird style of ruling a kingdom, especially with his own lemon subjects. He's not evil per se, but just very unadjusted to the world around him. And he loves orders, loves them. So much so that if someone were to break these rules, you're pretty much sent to the dungeon.
1 million years dungeon!
The rules he makes are very rigid, and can come off as a little extreme and dangerous, but Lemongrab adheres to equality under the law, even if that so-called equality is just for lemons.
Brother, stop that!
Wait, hate you.
Just like our first entry, Peridot, there are a lot of characters who start off as lawful evil, but then see the wrongdoings that they made and slowly climb up the ladder of morality. And this time, we get to see our favorite hot-headed prince of the Fire Nation take over.
That's it? Your father raised a coward.
Next time you get in my way, I promise. I won't hold back.
Zuko is definitely one of the most popular characters in the Last Airbender franchise, and for good reason too. While he may be formidable in tons of fights, the real reason why he's so beloved is his constant regret of doing some bad actions and makes up for it when joining the gang.
I don't want you hunting the Avatar anymore! The mission is off! I'm ordering you to stop!
Zuko was always about honor for most of Season 1 and 2, eager to impress his father Fire Lord Ozai, but kept disappointing him to every end to the point of exile and a burnt face. So, what do you do when you hear the next incarnation of the Avatar is going to show up? Well, track them down and capture them to impress your sweet daddy. But while hunting for Aang, Zuko noticed he needed to find his own destiny. He starts to lose faith in the Fire Nation's war, and feels guilty for the crimes he's done. He starts sympathizing for the people who were involved in the Fire Nation's destruction, and ultimately joins Aang in restoring the Four Nations and bringing peace. It helps that he had a great teacher in Iroh, who was a better father figure for the Firebender. In the end, Zuko becomes Fire Lord and helps restore world order and harmony with help from Aang. What a legend.
I'm bored.
I know.
I'm hungry.
So what?
So, find me some food.
Sure.
So, we've seen a lot of characters that rose up from being bad people to understanding their evil ways and bettering themselves. And we've also seen characters that just don't vibe with the whole morale shtick, and just stick to what's been ordered to them. But how about a character who is artistically antagonistic towards others, even though that's their whole sole purpose in life, even if they don't mean to? Because, ooh buddy, do I have the character for you.
I just love the smell of fear.
Oh my gosh, this character just oozes coolness. Before we get any further, massive spoilers for this guy, so if you haven't seen The Last Wish, skip to the next entry.
You're not living up to the legend. Gato.
So, with that out of the way, the wolf is an antagonist to our feline friend Puss, attempting to claim the last of his 9 lives. Puss gets a little frightened when he picks up a good fight, actually giving him anxiety and running away from him at any possible chance. It's revealed though that the wolf isn't just an ordinary bounty hunter, but the living incarnation of death itself. The Grim Reaper, if you will. Getting sick of Puss wasting his other 8 lives, Death gets a little agitated and is ready to finally take out Puss for good. Remember though, this is just his job, as it doesn't matter if the target he's after is good or evil. But Puss in Boots is a special case, as the feline doesn't respect his lives, therefore he has to be taught a lesson. The wolf takes pleasure in putting fear in Puss, but only because the cat was fooling around with his 9 lives in the first place. It just goes to show that if you laugh at the face of death, death might take it personally.
I came here for an arrogant little legend who thought he was immortal. But I don't see him anymore.
Sometimes the mysterious ones are the hardest to pin down. Are they actually working with the bad guys, or do they keep hidden to not blow their cover? Or maybe they're on no one's side. Maybe they're in their own path of justice, if that's what they want to call it. But you can't be seen doing these acts out of the blue. Oh no, you need to stay hidden and work under aliases so no one knows the real you. Kind of like our next pick, whose only name is a single letter.
Kira needs a face and a name in order to commit murder. But I'm sure you've already figured that much out, haven't you? Please do not give out your name so carelessly.
L is the ideal opponent for a killer on the loose and also hides their true face and name. And when you're the greatest detective alive, this is just a game of checkers to the guy.
I don't sit like this because I want to. I have to sit like this. You see, if I were to sit normally, my deductive skills would immediately be reduced by roughly 40%.
You serious?
His pursuit in finding out who Kira is actually more about winning the catch than actually stopping him, because he believes it's the right thing to do. At the same time though, he goes to extreme lengths to secure concrete solid evidence that our protagonist Light is Kira, despite everything that his intuition is correctly telling him. He doesn't go outside the law and stays firmly in his own lane. He always places obstacles for Light to hurdle through, and is always 2 steps ahead to prove his theory.
If he's talking with someone right now, it could be a Shinigami. Perhaps.
Before we get to my top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
Eventually, even the Fat Controller gave up. We shall take away your rails, he said, and leave you here for always and always and always.
Okay, this is pretty much a troll pick, but hear me out. As the Fat Controller, he's gotta make sure every engine does their job and the railway runs smoothly. And while he does give the engines what they need, sometimes he often butts heads with a few for not seeing their point of view on certain situations.
You have saved our lives. We are eternally grateful.
Yeah, whatever.
Hey, these guys are pretty friendly enough, but let's be honest, the aliens from Toy Story only care about one thing, and that's the claw. Dedicated to serve, if you're not the claw, then you're no god to them.
And combine it with floppy stuffed animals shall feel the stingy wrath of Count Spankula!
I wouldn't necessarily call Spankulot a villain per se, as his duty is to only spank naughty children, not innocent ones. And while he associates with other villains on the show, he seems to be friendly with the kids next door and helps them on occasion. Okay, let's switch to something other than spanking now.
So yes, I did betray them. After they betrayed me.
Unlike Captain Rex, Crosshair seems to be more antagonistic. Still thinking a clone should follow orders, it's ironic to see him and others being outcast by their brothers. But he still has that mindset, even after joining the Empire and realizing his wrongdoings.
Stay away! Fire!
After revealing her ice powers to the public, Elsa decides to move up north feeling more free than ever before, and kinda just stopped caring about the world. Even when she realized she caused her village to have an endless winter. Dang, she's cold. And with that, here's my number 1 pick. Most times, a general lawful person will always do what's right. It might not always be the right thing, but they try their hardest to maintain that goal. At the same time, most neutral characters tend to be level-headed and only look and judge others for their personal character. And honestly, when you combine the two, you got the perfect specimen in the propane and lawn-loving Texan, Hank Hill.
So you're telling me my boy can't go hunting because you wouldn't let a couple of twig boys starve? Forget number 6, you're now serving nonsense.
Hank is an assistant manager to a propane company who loves his job as much as he loves his family. He's pretty introverted and can't cope with emotion very well, but he's clearly the sanest person on the show.
Okay, show's over. Nothing to see here. Everyone go home. It's a circus out there.
Hank is straight-laced as a person can get without crossing the line into stupid territory. He would be lawful good if he was more compassionate, but he has no patience for others who don't fit in his mold. Even when he breaks the law, he realizes that it's not the right way to change said laws. Hank believes in hard work, honesty, tradition, responsibility, yada yada yada, you get the gist. He even happens to be a respected authority figure for many on the show, as he is often seen giving his advice to those around, knowing his insistence on doing the right thing in his own right way. Not bad for a guy in Arlen, Texas.
Coleman Lucas. Just need your fax number so I can fax over Bobby's soccer diet.
We don't have a fax or a fax number.
Oh, well, just give me your email address and I'll attach it.
Yeah, it's footballisgreat, soccerisdumb.com. Goodbye.
And there you have it. I might have missed some animated characters you would consider lawful neutral, so please let me know some of your favorites in the comments. Next up is the middle of the pack, the true neutral characters. Until then, please like and subscribe if you like this little series, and I'll see you next time.